All right, get this. It's 1955, and we've got a scientist, right, announcing a breakthrough that could end. Like the terror of polio, you'd think. Celebration, right? But no, there's skepticism, even pushback. So today, we're diving deep into Jonas Salk, the man behind this controversial vaccine. And it's not just about the science. It's the whole story, the hurdles, the drama, the whole thing.
Yeah, it goes way beyond like the textbook version, real human drama behind the scientific win. We're looking at Jonas Salk, The Unyielding Spirit, a biography, gets into like the man himself, not just the headlines.
So Salk, early life, let's go there. Born in New York City, immigrant parents, didn't have much formal education themselves, but boy, they pushed learning.
And that's key, right? That emphasis, even without them having it directly, it shapes Salk's whole approach. It's not just facts. It's like the meaning, the bigger picture, knowledge to make things better for everyone.
Turning point, right? Starts at City College in New York, thinking law, but then something changes.
Totally. Courtroom, nah, not for him. The body, how it works, that grabs him. Switches to medicine, the human side of science. Not just ideas, but using them to, really help people.
And this is early 20th century. Polio, terrifying, especially if you're a parent. Summer, supposed to be fun, but it's fear, this disease that can paralyze you.
Urgency, big time to find a solution. Imagine scientists, the pressure, the race to stop this thing. Enter Salk. Bold move, controversial even, a killed virus vaccine.
Most were focused on a live, but weakened virus for the vaccine, right?
Right.
Why'd he go this way?
This is where Salk's understanding not just the science, but the human part, it kicks in. Killed virus, tougher to develop, sure, but safer, he thinks. Especially with all the fear around polio, he's going against the grain for safety.
Wow. Not just science, but an ethical choice too. And it works. His vaccine, a success. 1955, the relief.
Huge weight off everyone's shoulders, right? Finally, some control over this awful disease. But hold on, the story's not over. The Cutter incident, that's a dark turn.
Okay, now it gets interesting and sad. What happened?
So one lab making the vaccine, production error, some batches, live polio virus. Tragic? Some kids who got it, they actually got polio. Devastating, right? Shakes everyone's trust after so much hope.
Crushing for Salk to work so hard for a safe vaccine, then this.
And here's where you see that unyielding spirit, like the biography says. He doesn't hide. He jumps into the investigation tirelessly for safer production, taking responsibility,
He could have just, retreated, but no, he faces it head on. Says a lot. More than just the science, owning it, rebuilding trust.
Exactly. His responsibility, it went way beyond the lab. The Cutter incident shows how deeply he cared about people affected by his work.
So huge setback, but the impact still massive, right?
Oh, absolutely. Polio cases, they plummet globally. Relief everywhere. The vaccine did what it promised despite everything. And here's a big one, still relevant today. Salk. He doesn't patent it.
Wow. He couldn't made, a fortune.
He puts public health first. He believed everyone should have access no matter what, rich or poor. This sets a precedent, makes us think, right, about profits, essential health care, the ethics.
Debate for today, for sure. But back to Salk. He doesn't stop there. He keeps going, pushing boundaries.
And there's another scientist also working on a polio vaccine, Albert Sabin, and their relationship. That's complicated.
Rivalry time. Sabin, the oral polio vaccine, that's him, right? So how's it different from Salk's, and what's with this scientific feud?
It's wild. They both want the same thing, to end polio, but different ways. Sabin, his is oral, uses a weakened but live virus. Easier to give, but tiny, tiny risk of causing polio. This difference, plus, science can be competitive, it fuels this rivalry, almost as famous as the vaccines themselves.
Two roads to the same destination kind of thing. But it wasn't just ego, right?
No, both were passionate about ending polio. Their rivalry, yeah, it's there, but their goal was the same. It shows how complex science is. Sometimes, many paths to a solution, each with its own pluses and minuses.
Progress, not always a straight line. Messy, strong personalities, surprises. But that's part of what makes it interesting, I guess.
Definitely. The human side, that's what makes scientific discovery so gripping. And with Salk, the story's not over yet. He doesn't just, sit back after conquering polio. There's more.
So what's next for this guy? What other big challenges did he take on? We'll get into that when we come back.
Welcome back. And it's amazing, right, Salk, this huge win with the polio vaccine. But he doesn't stop there. He's got to know more, push science further.
He sees polio as, step one. Now what's next? Bigger questions about health, how long we live, all that. So where does his research go after polio?
He dives into like all these complex areas, aging, cancer, autoimmune diseases, tough stuff, but Salk, same focus, same drive as with polio.
Not just one disease, but like the whole body, how it works, ages, fights disease, all of it.
Exactly. And his work with autoimmune diseases, that's really something. Our own immune system, supposed to protect us, but sometimes it attacks us. Multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, stuff like that.
A paradox, right. Your defenses turn against you. How did he even begin to figure that out?
He thought, if we can understand how the immune system and our cells interact really deeply, then maybe we can change that response. Like, teach it what's a threat and what's not. Bold idea paved the way for a lot of immunology research we still do today.
Always looking for those connections.
Yeah.
Right? The underlying rules of the body, how it all fits together.
And his research, it wasn't limited. 1980s, 90s, HIV, AIDS, a new scary virus, the world's freaking out. Salk, he turns his attention to that.
Lots of stigma back then, misinformation about HIV. Yeah. How do you approach that, given all the, social and political stuff around it?
Same courage, same optimism, like his whole career, global health crisis, he's got to help. Even though some people were like, stay away, too risky.
Didn't shy away from controversy, huh?
Nope. He saw the need, jumped in. Science was the key, he thought, to understanding HIV, beating it eventually.
But HIV, way tougher than polio.
Right.
Finding a vaccine, much harder. What roadblocks did he hit?
HIV itself, it's tricky. It mutates fast, super hard to develop a typical vaccine. Trying to hit a moving target, one that changes shape all the time.
So a whole new kind of challenge for him. How did he change his approach for this?
He used all his knowledge, immunology, virology, always trying new things, testing, working with other scientists, even thought about a killed virus vaccine for HIV, like his polio one.
Interesting. Use what worked before for a new problem, but people weren't sure about that, right? The other scientists.
Oh, yeah, controversial. Some were like, will it even work against something as complex as HIV? But Salk, he didn't care. Explore everything, even if it's unconventional. That's what he believed. Gotta try, especially against something this serious.
Never afraid to shake things up, go against the grain, if he thought it might lead to something big. Sadly, he didn't live to see an HIV vaccine work.
True, Salk passed away in 1995, but what he did for HIV research, it mattered. Laid the groundwork for later work, got scientists thinking differently about the virus, new ways to treat it, prevent it.
Science. It's like a relay race sometimes. Each generation builds on what came before.
Yeah, and Salk, he might not have gotten that final breakthrough, but his work, his belief in science, it made a difference. Big time.
His legacy, it's bigger than any one disease he fought. It's about how he thought, pushing boundaries, believing in human ingenuity that we can solve these huge problems. And speaking of pushing boundaries, there's the Salk Institute, right? That he started.
The Salk Institute, yeah. His vision, collaboration, research across different fields all together to solve the big problems facing humanity.
Not just a building, but an environment for innovation. What made it so unique?
Picture this. Biologists, chemists, physicists, even artists, architects, all together sharing ideas. Breaking down the walls between those different fields, that was his goal. Cross-pollination of ideas, that's what he wanted.
A scientific melting pot, speeding up discoveries by bringing all those different minds together, and it worked, right? What are some of the things that came out of the Salk Institute?
Oh, so many breakthroughs. Cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, new tech for clean energy, sustainable agriculture. A global center for innovation. The best minds in the world working there.
One person's vision, and look at the impact. All goes back to what Salk believed. Working together, using our collective brain power, that's how we achieve big things.
A powerful message. Even more so today. We've got climate change, health crises, all these complex things. Salk's vision, working together across disciplines, that's how we find solutions.
So wrapping up this part of our deep dive, Salk's legacy, it's a lot of things. Scientific discoveries, ethical choices, that optimism, but also the power of teamwork, believing that we can do great things when we work together towards the same goal.
Absolutely. A legacy worth celebrating and, trying to live up to as we face the challenges of the 21st century.
Wrapping up our deep dive on Jonas Salk, it's like more than just the science, right? It's his vision, the ethics, always pushing for knowledge to make things better for everyone.
It's really something how his family, they valued education so much, even without having it themselves. That stuck with him, shaped how he saw things. Knowledge wasn't just for him, it was a way to help everybody.
Yeah, you see that throughout his career, like picking the safer polio vaccine, even if it was harder, not patenting it, tackling HIV, those autoimmune diseases. It's all about purpose, more than just ambition.
Like, he wasn't just answering how, he was asking why. All the time. Not just finding the solution, but what it meant, the bigger picture, the ethical side, how it could benefit everyone.
In the Salk Institute, that's the perfect example, right?
Yeah.
Not just a place to do research, but a place built on collaboration, working across different fields. That was his thing.
Totally. Breaking those barriers between the sciences, that's what he thought would lead to real breakthroughs. Bringing people together, different backgrounds, challenging each other, sparking new ideas. That's what the Institute is all about.
It's like a think tank for the future. Not just fixing today's problems, but getting ready for what's next.
Yeah. And that's so important now with climate change, new diseases, all these huge, complex problems. Salk's way, collaboration, that's how we're going to find answers.
So thinking about Salk's life, what can we, like regular people, take away from it? It's inspiring, but how do we actually use those lessons, even if we're not scientists or anything?
I think a big one is that why question. Whatever you do, whatever your job is, keep asking why. Why are things this way? What are the assumptions? What are the consequences?
It's more than just doing your work. It's about how your work affects the world, right?
Exactly. And working together, that's huge too. Salk's story shows us these big problems, they don't have easy answers. We need different people, different perspectives to find solutions that really work.
So knowing that you don't know everything, being open to other people's ideas, even if they're not in your field, that's important.
And don't forget, Salk, he was persistent, optimistic. The Cutter incident, the trouble with HIV, setbacks, sure, but he never stopped believing in science, that it could make a difference.
Progress, it's not always a smooth path. There's going to be bumps along the way. But learning from mistakes, changing how you do things, keeping going with a purpose, that's what matters.
So as we finish up here, think about what parts of Salk's story really hit home for you. That curiosity, working together, never giving up. How can you use those things in your own life, in your own work? His legacy is a challenge to all of us, to keep learning, to use what we learn to make the world better, healthier, more hopeful.
And on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the life and legacy of Jonas Salk.